Vice President Kamala Harris is gracing her first magazine cover since becoming the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. Essence magazine has just released the cover of its September-October issue. The story features Vice President Harris's sit-down during last month's Essence Fest. The discussion is from before she took the reins of the presidential election, but in it, she touches on her stance on several pressing issues, including the Supreme Court, abortion access, and former President Trump. Joining us now, President and CEO of Essence Ventures, Caroline Wanga. She interviewed the Vice President at Essence Fest. Also with us, President and CEO of the Global Black Economic Forum, Alfonso David. Good to have you both with us. So, Caroline, tell us, set the scene for this interview, because you conducted it before she actually became the Democratic nominee or endorsed by the president to be so.
Mika,
yes?
Mika, hold on one second.
Yes.
Do you not notice what she's wearing?
Let's talk about it, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
She's wearing the same outfit. I wear that outfit every Christmas Eve. My kids think I'm crazy. I got the love across here. My kids are going, Dad, what are you doing?
Business out there. This between me and you, Joe. Me and you.
Yes.
This was for you. This was
Thank you.
But it says
I appreciate it.
In honor of Cornel West, who said, justice is what love looks like in public. That's where the love. But you already knew that, Joe.
In fairness to Mika, I was going to tell everybody about you and Joe, but
you know what I'm saying. Well, we out now, Joe.
Staying out of it.
We out now.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. One can do far worse, and Rev, you'll agree with me, than following the lead of Brother Cornel.
Listen,
a lot worse than that.
Right.
He's
you
amazing.
Remember when we commissioned the outfit after he said it, Joe?
Of course. That's why. Why do you think I wear it every Christmas Eve? And now Mika knows what I'm doing. If you don't like
we split holidays. You have custody on Christmas, I take Easter.
Exactly. All right, Mika, I'm sorry. We'll let you go ahead now.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
That's okay. I think you look amazing, Caroline. I had trouble seeing in the boxes, but I did see. Now I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Thank you.
And you rock it way better than Joe does. Okay, so
you should see him on Christmas, though. You should see him in it on Christmas. I'll send it to you.
I always wonder where he goes. Okay, yeah. So set the scene for this interview, if you could. You hit on some consequential issues with the Vice President.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? We have a series at Essence we call Chief to Chief, and it was developed to help the over 30 million black women that look to us for inspiration and understanding to find the chief within themselves. And so we feature women that are in different chief positions in community and corporate and in other spaces. And VP Harris was wonderful enough to give us the opportunity to do hers at Festival. And the point of Chief to Chief is really just to help people find the chief within themselves. So while she did talk a lot about what she was looking to do in office then and now, we also know that what was more important about that setting, and if you were there live, your goosebumps got goosebumps, which was about the way that this community galvanized around the energy and moment that means there will never be a day again when there hasn't been a black woman vice president. And through Chief to Chief, we made it a conversation where everybody can find themselves in her story. So what she has done becomes possible for them. So we did that live at Essence Festival at the end of the Global Black Economic Forum's summit and activation at the festival. We had a packed room of several folks, and we streamed it to a number of places. And then conveniently, at the time that Biden announced he was stepping down, we were able to then release that and have the community continue to celebrate what she represents, but now celebrate her and this historic moment she's in. And then, of course, you can't be that and not be on the Essence cover. And so we also made sure that this Essence cover happened. We welcome her into the Essence cover girl community. But more importantly, that's the subscribers issue that will start to come out on the 26th. It's a collector's edition because we haven't had this moment in recent history. And so it was also important to not just have Chief to Chief out there digitally. The interview is also actually in the magazine. And then the cover that she has is wonderful around being undeterred, right, and unwavering, which connects very well to our sister Shirley Chisholm, who said, unbought, unbossed, intentional.
Carolyn,
Yes, sir.
what I think people need to understand, Essence Festival is the largest gathering of blacks in the country annually. And
more than just blacks.
And more than just blacks come. I mean, everybody comes. You can't check in the year without coming to Essence Festival. I've been to every one of them. You put me on the stage, Alfonso. And not only did Kamala Harris do the Chief to Chief, you put on stage the night the hip hoppers were there to make sure young people understood. Talk about the cultural impact, because I think what you've done, your leadership, Rich Lou Dennis, who saved us all, a great titan. You have become a cultural phenomenon to expand Essence reach. Why is it important that it is in Essence? That's why we honored you this year. Why is it important that it's in Essence?
Yeah, and I appreciate the honor you guys gave, and I talked about it. This cultural artifact we call Essence doesn't belong to any one person. It belongs to our black community. It is what has told us what we have the right to exist in for over 5 decades, right? In this particular moment for Essence, what we are doing is owning what Essence did for black women in the 50 years before now. And that is all of the work Essence did to tell the stories of black women doing great things now has black women as the CEOs of home, culture, and community. They operate in that way. That is not stating that other members of community are not active. It means when her neck turns, as does not just the community, but the world. We've seen that in multiple places. So in this era of Essence and having her take the stage, being at the Essence Festival, the largest festival in the country by per day attendance, not just black, right? We gave an opportunity to not just create cultural generations together, but we also gave an understanding of the collective power that those before us earned on our behalf, that they are obligated to activate, so we continue to be represented in the right way and with the clout that we have in all parts of the business. It was wonderful for her to come out and say hi on the Cash Money Millionaire celebration night.
At the Superdome.
At the Superdome on a Friday night. But it's also wonderful that we put her in other places like the Chief to Chief at Global Black Economic Forum. Our peers here, Alfonso David. But at the end of the day, here's what's true about Essence. It has always been what told us what our power is in the world, and it always will. What everybody needs to understand is any engagement that doesn't involve the black woman is incomplete, because we are the CEOs of home, culture, and community.
Alfonso, another thing that the Global Black Economic Forum is trying to do is to get out the message about voter suppression and voting rights. We heard an awful lot about that in the 2020 campaign. It hasn't been that much in the headlines in the 2024 campaign. How much of an issue is it, and how are you getting to your voters to inform them of what their rights are and how to overcome any suppression that there might be?
This absolutely continues to be an issue in this country, unfortunately. I think all we have to do is look at the state of Georgia that recently passed legislation that makes it much easier for people to challenge another citizen's right to vote without any evidence, by the way. So what we're doing at the Global Black Economic Forum, working directly with Essence, is to engage in voter education, voter registration, voter mobilization, as well as voter protection. So when you show up at the polls, we want to make sure that you have resources available to you. We're working directly with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights to make sure that we have those resources available. But we want to educate our community about the issues that affect them directly, mobilize them to vote, as well as provide the resources and protections for them.
So, Alfonso, tell us about the ongoing Paint the Polls Black effort.
So we launched an initiative called Paint the Polls Black. It paint the polls generally, but specifically black, because people need to understand the obstacles that we confront as people of color in this country. And we also want to make sure that they understand and can mobilize all of the resources that exist. And that's why we are doing this initiative. We just held a town hall a few weeks ago. We had thousands of people joining us remotely. We're doing additional town halls over the course of the next few weeks and months. And once again, the goal is to make sure we have the information, we have the resources, we can mobilize, and we can vote. Many states across this country are making it much more difficult for us to vote. And so we want to make sure when people show up, they have the resources and the information that they need.
Alfonso, the New York Times yesterday had on the top of their news site the challenge of getting all black men, getting enough black men behind Kamala Harris for her to win, suggesting that somehow black men were going to be challenged by the idea of voting for a black woman. I thought it was quite a headline and quite a story to be posting in August. but I'll at least give you a crack at it because it was at the top of the Times yesterday.
Look, I appreciate that we need conflict. I appreciate that we need news. But I can tell you that black men are supportive of Kamala Harris. I can tell you that the black men that we engage with, and again, Essence is traditionally a women's enterprise, but more than 30% of the audience are men.
That's right.
And so those men actually support Kamala Harris. And importantly, when we break down the issues, when we talk about the economy, when we talk about health care, when we talk about access to resources, when we talk about access to capital, they know that they have a better chance with Kamala Harris than anyone else that is running for president of the United States. And so I think we'll see over the next few weeks and the next few months more and more black men and black people being clear about who they're supporting in this election.
Can I add something to what Alfonso said? Because I think what we also have to pay attention to, Joe, with your comment is, over time, when we look at what happens between the black community and mainstream, the first thing they always try to do is divide the black men and black women. They always try to divide us, right? So I also think that in addition to what my colleague Alfonso said is, please don't underestimate how close black women and black men are. We support each other. You can play all you want in the media about whether or not we're separated, but that's a game we've known for decades. We stand together, we lead together, we engage together as black men and black women on behalf of our community.
And
Joe,
Joe,
it is also fascinating that every 4 years we hear the same stories, especially in the age of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, Trump is going to get 25% of the black vote. Trump's going to get I have been spun year after year about how he has this special magic with black men. The numbers just haven't played out. They didn't play out in 16. They didn't play out in 20. He hasn't been at any number, Mika, above where, you know, Republicans have been in the past. Not significantly, at least.
But Joe, let me give you a news flash. Every black man entered this world from a black woman.
Come on. Come on. And every black woman brought them forth for a black man.
That's right. Issue of Essence magazine featuring Vice President Kamala Harris is out now. President and CEO of Essence Ventures, Caroline Wanga, and President and CEO of the Global Black Economic Forum, Alfonso David. Thank you both so much for being on this morning.